I wanted to talk a little bit about that groups feature that I mentioned really quickly because I think it's really powerful. I haven't used it extensively, but I mean, I plan to. If you work with people and you're doing a lit search on a topic and you have collaborators, you know, it's really powerful to be able to have a group with them. So in the way that I used it, I'll give you two examples. So this GED 578 is a class that I taught, and part of my assignment was to have everyone in the class contribute like 5 articles to this collection. And so I had them all join the group in Zotero, and I gave them an invitation and all that. And I had them join and contribute 5 articles. And then at the end, I had them do like an annotated bibliography of those articles that they contributed. But what I ended up with was, for the class, I have a group and I have all the articles that they found and contributed in this group folder. A second example is, this is a group for personalized learning environments, which is a topic that I've been interested in. This group was created by somebody else and sort of distributed to different people who were interested in that same topic across the web. And so these are articles that were contributed by all the people in that group. So these are people from all over the world who are just happen to be in this Zotero group, and they contributed a bunch of articles. And so that I just found this group and joined it, and I was able to find all these articles on the topic. It was like a lit search that was already done for me, you know, and there's a lot of good stuff in here. And to piggyback on that a little bit, I'll just show you quickly how this relates, because you can't really do a whole lot to groups in the Zotero interface, and so it's a little confusing. So I'll just mention that when you go to the website, I don't use the website a whole lot, but sometimes I do to manage my groups. So here are my groups, and I can edit my permissions, I can change the name, I can do all kinds of stuff in here with these options here. So just a small side note about how to edit and manage those groups. There's also some cool things like your Zotero documentation and different forums and things like that. I end up, if I have a question though, usually it's faster to just kind of Google something, and this is the site that generally comes up anyways with answers. I've also had some good luck on Twitter, just tweeting at Zotero if I have a question, and they've gotten back to me in like an hour with the answer to any of my questions. One big one was when I was switching back from Mendeley to Zotero. It can be a pretty complicated process, so I wouldn't recommend it. But you can do it, and if you're currently using Mendeley and want to switch over, it is possible, and I've done it. But I had to get some advice on that from the Zotero organization, and they were really helpful about that. One thing I was going to cover, but we might have to do you know, offline, or we can talk about in the discussion. I'm in the website that we're building on the blog post is annotation and how that fits into Zotero. So if I want to highlight a PDF, there's a few different ways I can do it. You know, I can open it up directly and highlight it in like Preview or Adobe Acrobat or something like that. But there are sometimes problems with syncing. So if I go to another computer after I've sunk it, I've had some issues with annotation. So I have some workarounds for that, but it's still a challenge that I'm trying to figure out the best solution to. So that covers all the topics that I wanted to get through as fast as I could. Let me leave a few minutes here for a little bit of commentary, and maybe we can have a little bit of discussion before the hour closes out in the last 5 minutes. Switch back over to my Zotero screen and stop my sharing. Cool, so I can see everybody again. Looks like we have a ton of comments, so I'm excited to take a look at these. But I wanted to hear you know, some of your thoughts about your current practices for saving and saving articles and citation, and what you think.
I'm going to share one quick tip here while maybe someone else wants to get ready to take the mic. I was just saying that, when I'm reading an article or something like that, I will often then use that notes. You mentioned doing a summary, but I will, quite literally copy and paste, get or transcribe the thing if it is a printed source and I need to
Mhm.
transcribe still or voice to text, but then, put the page number in or things like that. So when I'm going back to search through, something, and I remember, oh, there was that one, group that said that one thing about critical literacies. Oh yeah, boom, it shows up in the notes as well.
Mhm.
So I find that in addition to typing your summaries there, or paraphrases and grabbing direct quotes and having, like here, you can see another one where I got a whole bunch of them in there. So you click in there and I put the page number at the end for that particular
Mhm.
one. But just being able to have kind of that bank of all the money quotes, right? The quotes that you're
Yeah.
going to use across multiple sources because you're going to rely on that particular scholar a couple times.
Yeah, and I've seen that too, and that's a huge time saver because if you know you wanted to quote something in the paper that you're writing, you can just search for it and find it right there instead of having to go through a 30-page article and try to find it again, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And then I just wanted to make mention, I put in the chat room, and we'll make links to all this as well, that the CMU library has a Zotero guide that they have started to create. And then fortunately, just the power of the interwebs, I also found one from Cal Berkeley, and I'll put that in the chat room here. There are lots of people that are using Zotero and have
Mhm.
tips and tricks and strategies.
Yeah, one that I found on YouTube that I'll put on the blog post when we finish that up is this person who did like a collection. I think it's 12 videos, so it's really in depth and really clear. And so I'll put that up as well.
Yeah, and I have not tried it, but another tool that you could try, it's called Zotfile, that will help you manage your PDFs in Zotero. So I don't know if have you had any experience with that one, Adam? Have you tried Zotfile?
I haven't tried it. I read a lot about it and I wasn't sure if I wanted to take the plunge. I know that what people have used it for is syncing their articles with like Dropbox or Google Drive
Mm,
or something like that. So if you want
yep.
to keep them in Dropbox instead of Zotero, but I had such a tough time coming from Mendeley and getting back into Zotero. I just kind of want to
Yeah.
leave it alone because I know it's working. But I know that people
Uh,
do use Zotfile a lot.
yeah. It looks like it's for a connection to Firefox. I'm not 100% sure, but anyway. Other thoughts, questions? Adam is our Zotero resident expert here. You've got his time and attention for the next few minutes. What else does everyone want to know?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I just covered everything.
Yeah, yeah, you did it all. I mean, the one other thing that I will say, which is really interesting, I mean, maybe it's just an anomaly, and I'm not sure, but I've had people, they'll contact me and say, "Oh, Troy, what are your top 5 references for your own work or other digital literacy resources or something like that?" It is so easy then, like, to go into Zotero and you take, okay, I want to quickly share that list of those 5 references, or someone will say like, oh, okay, who's a scholar you know and trust? Oh, okay, well, I appreciate Renee Hobbs's work on digital literacy. So I can take everything and I can very quickly then create that bibliography and say, save it as rich text format, boom, send them the attachment.
Mhm.
Or someone will say, oh, Troy, do you have a list of all your books? Or do you have a list of these articles? Or do you have a list of something? And just creating those lists and being able to share them that fast is really helpful for me. So yeah, all right. Susan looks like she's going to start. Looks like Tammy's feeling a little bit better about Zotero. Thank you all for being on here.